이번 주에도 돌아온 반반 팟캐스트 한국어 아니 아니 한국어 영어 반반 팟캐스트 하프앤하프의 정태욱입니다. 반갑습니다.
And I'm Jeep. Welcome to Half and Half. And today we have a really fun topic for you. So it's going to be fun for you also, Taeyung Same.
그래요? 아니 저는
promise.
무서워요 저는.
Okay, I'll just introduce it and maybe you can explain why you're a little bit scared. Today I want to talk about playtesting, specifically sort of how Valve does playtesting, but I think we'll go into it more. I think that actually this is useful for not just Valve, it's useful for other game companies, and it's also useful for regular people who are not game developers. I think it's useful for any situation. And
아,
yeah. Okay, why are you scared of this topic? Go ahead.
아니 사실상 이게 포탈 AMA 그 지프 AMA 3편이나 다름없잖아요.
Right.
그때 우리가 Ask Me Anything 할 때 그 플레이 테스트에 관해서 질문 주신 분들이 두 분인가 계셨는데
That's right.
네, 근데 그거를 따로 뺀 에피소드인데 그때 지프가 저도 엄청 얘기를 잘할 수 있을 거라고 얘기를 했죠.
That's right. Yeah. I think I have a lot to say about this.
아니 제가 얘기를
Oh yeah, I think you'll have a lot too. That's right. Yes.
근데 저는 도무지 감이 안 잡히는데요.
Yeah. No, okay. So you don't think so right now, and that's fine. But as we start talking about this, I think you'll realize that there's more you can say about it. So we'll try this. Okay. So so first I'm going to ask you a lot of questions also. That way I can force you to talk a little bit.
네, 좋아요.
Okay. So at Valve, something that we use for all the games that we made there is called playtesting. It's a process we use to make sure that the game we're making is fun or that it's good, basically.
네.
Okay. So I guess the first thing to say about it is let me give you an example. Taeyung Sam, let's say that you're making a book. Let's say you're writing a book, just as an example.
네.
And it's a book where people are going to learn Korean.
오, 네.
So you're writing a book that teaches people Korean, for example.
네.
Okay. How can you make sure that that book is a good book, that it's a useful book? What would you do?
몇 가지가 있을 것 같은데 일단 제일 먼저 떠오르는 건
Yeah.
제가 아는 한국어 교육을 잘 아는 선생님들한테
Okay.
이게 어떤지 한번 물어볼 것 같고요.
Okay. So
네.
so that's a start. So the first thing you're saying you would do is have somebody that knows Korean very well, like maybe a professor, look at your book and make corrections, make sure that it's correct, right?
네.
So that would be a good example of at Valve when we test a game. What we would do is we would make some parts of the game, right? Make some levels or make some enemies, some characters, and somebody else at Valve that we trust, that we say, oh, this person at Valve is a really good designer, or he knows a lot of things about what makes games fun. We would have him look at what we built and play it, and then say, oh, here's a problem, or you can fix this, or you can change this, right?
네.
Okay, so that's part one. However, let's say, for example, only Korean professors read your book, and then you start selling your book.
안 되죠.
Yeah.
네.
Because who's going to buy your book?
그렇죠. 교수님들이 책을 사지는 않을 거니까.
Right. Yeah, who's your audience? Who's your target audience?
실제로 한국어를 배우고 싶어 하는 사람들이겠죠.
Right. So you want to know the people who are going to buy your book, people who are learning Korean. Like, are they learning? Like, is it helping them or is it useful? You want to know those things, right?
네.
Okay, so the next level of playtesting is you want to get somebody who represents your audience
음.
to play test. So I said play test, but read your book, right? So what we would do is we would try to find somebody who does not know game design, does not know game programming, does not know how to develop a game, who just wants to play games, right?
네.
We would have them play the game and see what is their reaction. Like, what do they think about it, right?
맞아요. 맞아요.
Okay. Yeah. So so that's sort of the main thing is we need to think about so here's the thing. When you're a creator, like as a game developer, I'm also a game player. I love games. I play a lot of games.
네.
But most of the people who play the games that I make are not game developers. Most of them.
그렇죠.
So we want to make sure that people who don't play games, or sorry, who don't make games, can still understand and enjoy the game that we're making, right?
네네네.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the basic of what playtesting is just that.
네.
Go ahead.
그게 되게 중요한 포인트인 것 같은데 엄청 심혈을 기울여서 만들었는데 그거를 막 교수님들은 알아봐요. 야, 이 부분이 잘 만들었군. 이 부분이 아주 원리에 따라 착실히 만들어졌군. 이렇게 할 수 있어요.
Right.
근데 정작 그거 보고 배우려는 사람들은 이해를 못할 수도 있어요.
That's right.
그런 함정에 좀 잘 빠지는 것 같아요. 좀
Right.
많이 아는 사람들이. 근데 게임 테스팅 할 때도
Yeah.
플레이 테스트 할 때도 좀 그런 경우가 있어요.
Yeah. I've had that type of experience also. Yeah. So I would say it's more from this direction. As a player, when I play games, like for example, recently I played the game Split Fiction. It's a multiplayer game. It's very fun, popular game. And when I played that game, it was very clear to me that they play tested this game a lot. Like it was like as a player, I was like, oh, everything makes sense. Everything you can understand. You can figure it out as you go. Like it's very clear they play tested. That's a good example. Then there's also bad examples where I'll play a game and it's like so frustrating, or you can't understand it, or the way things are designed in the game. It's like I don't think they ever watched anyone play this game, because if they watched me playing this game right now, they would be very sad as developers. Like they would feel like they had failed. So as a player, I can tell if a game has been or has not been play tested. Okay, so let's talk about this second part here. So when we watch somebody play the game,
네.
we want to see like what they do in the game, or not, how they interact with the game.
네.
Because we call them, what we'd say, they are a proxy. Do you know the word proxy?
프록시?
Proxy. Okay. It's a very technical word, so I'll try and explain it.
네.
Proxy is like not the real thing, but similar to the real thing. Very similar to what is real. Like they might even call it an example. 예시 could be a proxy.
예시. 네.
It's kind of like an example. So when we watch somebody play the game, it's just one person first, right? It's just one person.
네.
And then when you sell the game, let's say 1,000 people play the game. It's a very small game, 1,000 people. That one person represents, maybe 100 people who will play the game.
네.
So in the real game, when real people play the game that we sold, maybe 100 people will be similar to that one person. Like a similar type of person or a similar type of player, or have a similar experience.
네.
So when we watch a playtester, they are a proxy for thousands or even tens of thousands of other players who will have a similar experience.
근데 그게 가능해요?
Yeah. Okay,
아니,
go ahead.
아니 그렇게 한 명이 막
Yeah.
한 명의 사용자가
Mm.
막 100명, 1000명을 대표할 수 있는 거예요?
Yeah. Because I mean, every person is unique and different a little bit, right? But also people are similar. So for example, let's say you have an RPG game. In the game, you can choose 3 characters. Yeah, fighter, mage, rogue. Okay. So the people who play the game have 3 choices,
네.
right? Some of them will choose fighter, some of them will choose mage, some of them will choose rogue. So when you watch somebody play the game and they choose fighter, they are a proxy for all the other players who choose fighter. They're not the only person who chooses fighter, right?
네.
So, and then somebody who chooses mage is not the only person in the world who's going to choose mage. There'll be
그렇죠.
thousands of other people who will choose that. And the same thing in the game. When you play the game and you make choices, do I go left? Do I go right? Do I attack or do I defend? Like, other players will make those same choices too, right?
네.
So when you watch somebody play the game, they are a proxy for thousands of other people. So when somebody plays the game and they have a big problem, like for example, this can just be a bug. So they're running around in the game, and then they fall and they get stuck. They can't move. They can't get out. They're stuck, right?
네. 네.
They have to quit the game. They have to stop.
에? 네.
So somebody's playing the game, they fall, they get stuck. They are a proxy for thousands of other people who will also fall there and get stuck.
그렇죠. 그렇죠.
Right. So if you see a bug in the game because you're watching a playtest, 100% guaranteed, if you sell this game, other people will have that same bug, will have that same problem. Right?
그렇죠.
Even if it's rare, like even if it's, let's say 1 in 1,000 people will fall in that and get stuck.
네.
Well, if 1 million people play the game, that's 10,000 people who are going to get stuck.
네.
10,000 people who will write a bad review and say, this game is terrible. Right? Okay. So that's just one example that's very clear, people getting stuck. But it could be another thing. Like, let's say they're playing the game and the story is written on the screen. The story is the character, blah, 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 blah.
네.
And it says, you need to talk to this character. You need to talk to a character named John. Go find John and talk to John. That's the story, right?
네.
And then when the player, starts traveling on their journey, one hour later in the game, they're like, oh, who was I supposed to talk to? Oh, was it Joe? Was it Jeff? Was it James? Oh, I don't remember. Who was it? If we see that happens with a player, they are a proxy for thousands of other players who will also forget that character's name, right?
네, 네, 네.
So we have to trust that what we see when playtesters have a problem, that other players will have that same problem.
그렇죠.
Okay. So that is the first part, is we observe and we see what are the problems, like basic problems. Then we decide, how do we fix those problems? Okay. So, so let's, before I go to that, actually, let me ask you these questions. So when you were starting your YouTube channel, the sorry, it's a long name. I always forget. Comprehensible Input Korean.
네, 네.
Okay. So, like, I know that you did a lot of work preparing before you ever put an episode on YouTube. But when you put your first episode on YouTube, what type of feedback did you get from that episode?
아니, 한 3년 전이라 잘 정확히는 기억이 안 나는데.
Yeah.
근데 일단 피드백이 많이 없었고요.
Okay.
그리고 있었던 아주 적은 수의 피드백은 다 그냥 전반적으로 그냥 좋은 아이디어다. 뭐 고맙다. 그냥 그런 칭찬들이었어요.
That's great.
그게 다였어요.
Okay.
근데 뭐 여기를 고쳐야 할 것 같아요. 이 부분은 좀 별로예요. 이런 피드백을 거의 못 들어봤어요.
Oh, that's great.
근데 그냥 사람이 적어서 그랬던 것 같아요.
Sure. It started small. So at first you were only getting like compliments and things like that. But as you went along, did people give you suggestions for like anything that you could change or different types of content to make? Or what suggestions did they give you?
뭐 이런 게임을 사용해봐라 이런 추천이 있었고,
Yeah.
진짜 한두 번씩 제가 원래 그러니까 제 유튜브 그 한국어 가르쳐주는 유튜브 모토가 그 외국어를 쓰지 않고 한국어로만 한국어를 이해시키는 컨텐츠인데,
Yeah.
초기에 제가 진짜 가끔씩 이건 도저히 알아들을 수 없을 것 같은 한국어는 그냥 영어 단어를 그냥 찔끔찔끔 쓴 적이 있어요. 근데 그거를 안 쓰면 좋겠다. 무조건 100% 한국어로만 해라. 이런 그런 피드백이 있었거든요.
Oh, really? They would say don't use English at all. Just do 100% Korean.
근데 절대 쓰지 마라.
Uh-huh.
그래서 그것도 안 쓰게 됐어요.
That's cool. Yeah. So you can basically take that as feedback, and then when you make new YouTube episodes, make changes to your style. Or like you said, people suggested certain games, right?
네.
And then I guess you played those games so that people could watch.
근데 다 하는 건 아니에요.
Oh, okay.
그건 저만의 기준이 있어서
Okay.
이거는 교육용으로 쓸 수 있겠다 생각이 들면 해보고
Right.
아닐 것 같으면 안 하고요.
Okay. And then another thing that I remember for this channel is I think after we'd done maybe 3 or 4 episodes, some people said that they felt like we were talking too slow. Like I intentionally tried to talk pretty slow in English.
네.
And I think that you were talking a little slow in Korean also.
네.
And we saw feedback, or I saw feedback from a few different people that was saying, I wish that you talked a little bit faster, like the episodes go too slow. And so now we talk at a little bit faster speed, right?
그렇죠. 네.
Okay. So that's an example of like taking some feedback and then making a change. And I think we see the same thing when we're doing playtesting. Somebody has a problem where they say not a clear problem like they got stuck or they got confused, but something more like so. For example, let me think of an example. So, okay, so here's an example. We're watching somebody play the game. The game has maybe 10 different weapons. So you have, pistol, machine gun, shotgun, rocket launcher, grenade launcher. I don't know, maybe a few other weapons.
네.
However, we see that this player only uses the machine gun. They don't use any other weapons. They only use the machine gun.
네.
So as a developer, as a game developer, we say we have a goal for the game.
네.
Our goal might be we want the player to use a variety of weapons because some weapons are good in one situation, some weapons are good in a different situation, or maybe you run out of ammo for your pistol, now you need to use ammo for your rocket launcher, or things like that. Different enemies have different weaknesses. So our goal is we want to have a variety of weapons. We watch the players only use one weapon. And so the player might not see a problem directly themselves, but as a developer, we see a problem. We're saying this does not match our goal. Our goal is not met. So, okay, so what do we need to do? Do you have any ideas as an example, what you would do in this situation?
그러면은 그러니까 결국에는 그 다른 무기들을 쓸 수밖에 없는 상황을 만들어야 하잖아요.
Yes, yeah.
그러려면 네, 뭐 적을 좀 다르게 만든다던가.
Right.
그런 거. 네.
Yeah, exactly. So as an example, they're only using the machine gun. But let's say you have an enemy where you have to shoot it from very far away. Like, so we have a sniper rifle in the game. And we know that if you get close to this enemy, it will do a lot of damage. You have to see it from very, very far away and attack it that way.
네.
So now you have a reason to use the sniper rifle. Okay, now let's say you have another enemy. You make a new enemy. It has armor, like a big shield and armor. And if you shoot it with bullets, it doesn't hurt it at all. You have to destroy the armor first.
네.
So now you use the rocket launcher. You shoot a rocket, boom, you destroy the armor, and then now you can kill it that way. So now you have a reason to use the rocket launcher. And then you could also say maybe the machine gun, too much ammo. Like there's machine gun ammo all over the place. We'll have less and less and less, and more pistol ammo. So sometimes they use the machine gun, but they run out of ammo. Then they start using the pistol. So basically, you make changes to the game, either changing the enemies or the levels or the ammo count, things like that. So now the player starts using a variety of weapons. They try different things.
그쵸. 그 하프라이프가 그런 게 좀 잘 돼 있지 않았어요?
Yeah, definitely.
그리고 제가 들으면서 느낀 거는 그러니까 그 막 장갑을 두르고 있어서 머신건으로는 못 죽이고
Right.
그 로켓 런처만으로 죽일 수 있는 상대가 있다고 할 때
Yeah.
그 상대의 수에 비례해서 그 로켓 런처 암호도 많아야 되겠다는 생각이 들거든요.
Right.
그런 것도 다 염두에 두겠네요.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
아, 그게 그 하프라이프 시리즈 할 때는 그게 되게 비율이 잘 맞는다고 생각했는데 제가 몇 달 전에 헤일로 시리즈에 ODST였나? 그거를 했었거든요. 근데 그때는 좀 로켓 런처가 부족한 느낌이 들었어요.
It didn't feel good enough or satisfying?
네,
or
네.
not enough ammo. Which was it?
그 좀 막 큰 몬스터 죽일 수 있는
Right.
무기들이 좀 너무 금방 떨어져서 강제로 막 딱총 이런 걸로 죽여야 하겠더라고요.
Right. Yeah.
네.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, okay, so let's say we've gotten the player to use a variety of weapons now. But when they use the pistol, they say, like in feedback, they say the pistol feels very weak. I don't like the pistol. It's boring. It's not fun, or something like that. So there are ways to solve this that we can look at. So, for example, there's many different ways. We can say, okay, the pistol when it shoots goes pew 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 pew, right?
네.
But what if we change the sound so it goes?
네.
Exact same gameplay, same damage, same ammo, same everything. The sound is just louder.
그러면
Yeah.
더
Sometimes
느껴요?
Yeah, sometimes players will be like, "Oh, now the pistol feels really good. It's very powerful." Just changing the sound.
아, 진짜요?
Yeah, absolutely. Another example for the same pistol, let's say, so again, it's very weak. But let's say when you get the pistol in the game, when you first find it, you meet a character, and the character has like a very old wooden box, and he opens the box and says, "This is the most important pistol in the world. My grandfather gave it to my father. My father gave it to me. And this pistol's name is Annabelle. Now you can have this pistol." And the player takes the pistol. Same pistol. Oh, now they're like, "Oh, this is very interesting. I like this pistol." Like, you can absolutely see that change just by changing small things like that.
아, 진짜 그래요?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
그런 예가 있나?
Yeah. But here's the thing. So I've seen examples like that work, like where we've tried it. But I've also seen things like that fail. So for example, let's say we change the pistol, we make the sound very loud.
네.
We test it again with the new sound.
음,
and the players might have the same feedback and say, it's boring, don't like it. So then we add the story, say, this is Annabelle, the most important pistol. They
네.
try it, still not fun. Okay, now we need another idea. What can we do now? What if instead of one pistol, you have two pistols and you're like this? We try that. It's not fun. Okay, now what? How about,
네.
okay, maybe the pistol, instead of 6 bullets, it needs 10 bullets before you reload. Or
네.
maybe that's not fun. Reload is faster. That's not fun. Okay. We add a scope. So now you can look,
네.
you can see very far. It's like a sniper rifle pistol. You can keep trying things, changing things, keep changing until you find something that is fun or that does work. Yeah.
그렇구나. 저는 소음기를 달고 싶어요.
So umgi, what is that?
소리가
Yeah,
이렇게
yeah.
나는. 네.
The small sound, yeah. Oh,
그러면은-
silencer.
맞아요.
Pew. Yeah, see?
네,
Good
전
example.
그걸 되게 좋아하기 때문에.
Yeah, so maybe it's like you can use the pistol, but it has an advantage. It doesn't alert other enemies. Like you can kill this
그렇죠.
guy silently, and this guy, he doesn't know. Oh, you can shoot him. He doesn't know. You can shoot him. Pew.
그러면
So, yeah.
재밌지 않을까 싶은데.
Yeah, great example. So that could be something we could change. So this whole process is called iteration.
반복.
반복. Very similar phrase.
네.
Iteration doesn't just mean 반복, though.
네.
Iteration means change and test. Change, test, change, test. So you have to make changes.
그쵸.
Yeah. Okay, so following the steps again. Step 1, set our goal. What is our goal?
네.
So in Portal, for example, I'm wearing the shirt, so I will talk about Portal a little bit. Our main goal in Portal was we want the player to feel smart. The person playing the game should feel smart. That is our most important goal.
아, 그랬어요?
Yeah, definitely.
오, 나 당했다.
So
네.
So somebody plays the game and says, "Oh, I feel so stupid. I couldn't figure that puzzle out. I feel dumb." That's a failure. That's for us as developer. That's a failure. They have to feel smart.
아,
Yeah.
와, 진짜. 저 지금 머릿속에 전구가 띵 켜지는 느낌이에요, 지금.
Oh, really? And there's also the opposite. If somebody, if there's a puzzle and they solve the puzzle very, very easily with no difficulty, they don't feel smart. they just like, I just played the
그쵸,
game.
그냥
I beat the game.
지루하다 뭐 이렇게
Yeah,
느낄 것
it's
같아요.
just boring. Exactly. So the difficulty for puzzles has to be just perfect, where not too hard, not too easy. And the player, as they solve the puzzle, gets little hints until I solved it. Oh, I'm so smart. I'm a genius. That's the feeling. That's the number one goal for Portal.
네.
So we set the goal. We build a level. So we decide what is a puzzle to make. We try to make a puzzle, and then we observe. So we get somebody, not a game developer, just a regular game player.
네네, 그냥.
We have them play the puzzle. We watch. We take a lot of notes and say, they got confused by this, or they got stuck here, or they solved the puzzle, but it took them 40 minutes. That's way too long. Or they solved the puzzle, but they cheated. They did it in a way that we didn't expect. Like they didn't use portals. They just jumped. Like instead of using portals, they just jumped or something like that. Like not interesting.
네.
So we take a lot of notes, and then we iterate. So we say, okay, as a team, we come together as a team. We look at all the problems. We say, okay, I noticed this problem. I noticed this problem. I noticed this. How do we fix this? How about this? How about this? We come up with ideas. And then we change, we iterate, and then we test again.
네.
Repeat. That's it.
네.
So for just an example, like for any level that was in Portal, the first game, we did probably 100 or maybe 150 iterations.
안 그래도 물어보려고 했거든요, 그걸.
Yeah.
100에서 150 그러면 그게 그 한 사람이 계속 반복을 할 수 없잖아요, 테스터가.
No, always a different person. Always a new
그러니까요.
person. Yeah. Very.
와.
Yeah.
그 테스터들은 어떻게 구해요?
So okay, there's a lot of ways. Good question. Okay, so let me like I said, I'm gonna force you to talk a little bit.
아, 네네네.
So let's say you're testing your language learning book where you teach
네.
people Korean.
네.
Where would you find people to test your book?
아, 이게 너무 어려운 질문인데요.
It's fine.
한 번도 안 해봐서. 근데 저라면 그 제가 원하는 타겟들이 있을 건데,
Yeah.
그 저는 주로 초보자들을 타겟으로 합니다. 근데 저를 이미 아는 구독자들 상대로는 못할 것 같아요, 테스트를. 그래서 그냥 뭐 한국어 학습자 커뮤니티, 뭐 레딧, 뭐 디스코드 커뮤니티,
Yep.
좀 그런 곳으로 찾아갈 것 같아요, 저는.
Yeah, great example. So by going to an online community for people who are learning Korean, especially beginners, you could go there and ask people, say, hey, I'm writing a book. Does somebody want some free reading material to help me test this book? And, send me feedback or something like that. So
네.
that's literally the answer is you just ask. You say, who wants to do this? What we would do, there was a few different places. So most of the people who work at Valve are also game players. We play a lot of games.
네.
So when we go to the game store, like go to the mall and we go to the store, if we see other people in the store, like there's 3 or 4 people just walking around in the store,
네.
people we don't know,
네.
we just walk up to them and say, hi, excuse me, my name is Jeep. I work at Valve and, we need people to test our games. Are you interested in playing games sometime? And they'd say, oh, sure. Or they'd say, what's Valve? Or they say, okay. Like there's all kinds of people. Sometimes they'd be like, oh, I don't play games. My brother plays games. I'm buying a gift for them. You don't know who you're talking to. So we'd say, okay, just give me your name and your phone number or email address. Sorry, email address. Give me your name and your email address. We'll write it down. And then, sometime we'll call you or sometime we'll send you a message. And so, we collect names and email addresses like that.
네.
The other situation would be, as developers, we go to a lot of trade shows. Trade shows like
G스타 같은 거 아니에요?
like G-Star, yeah. So here we have like GDC and E3 and there could also be like Comic-Con. And,
코미콘도 될 수 있겠다.
yeah, things like
네.
that. So we go at those events, similar, we would just ask people, hey, if you're interested in playtesting, put your name on this list. Or even at the Valve booth, if Valve has a booth at the show, if people come to the booth and say, hey, do you, like just random fans would come to the booth and say, hey, do you have any, have any merchandise? Do you have any, I don't know what you call it, freebies, giveaways? What do you call it in Korean?
굿즈 같은 거요?
Goods, yes. In English, we don't use the word goods, but yeah.
그렇구나.
Do you have anything? We'd say, oh yeah, here, have a sticker, and also if you want to play test, write your name on this list, right? Yeah, sign up. So we would collect names like that and have just a list of hundreds or even thousands of names and email addresses. And then every week, so okay, I should say this. When we play tested Portal, we did once per week, usually once per week.
일주일에 네.
Yeah. So usually near the start of the week, this was my job a lot of times.
그랬어요?
I would email maybe 3 people on the list and say,
네.
hey, we're doing a play test this week. Do you have 1 hour to play the game? And, oh yeah, this is important. I forgot to say this.
직접 와야 되는 거 아니에요?
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
네.
So when we're doing a sign up, we usually just do it near the office. Trade shows near the office because the people who come to play need to live in that city, live nearby, right?
그렇죠.
So getting signatures in Texas isn't useful for us because we live in a completely different state. Okay. So we find people nearby and say, hey, could you come in for 1 hour on Friday? I'd email 3 people and, maybe one person or 2 people would respond and say, yes, I can do it. And then I'd say, okay, this week or next week. And then, I'd schedule them and we just have a schedule where each week we'd have one person who was going to come and play the game.
네.
Yeah. And that's pretty much it. That's how we found people.
와, 생각보다 훨씬 더 과정이 그 뭐라 해야 할까 단순하고 좀 직접적이네요.
It's very simple. Yeah.
어.
Yeah.
아 근데 그 게임 가게에서 사람들한테 물어보는 게 진짜 그 정확할 것 같아요. 저는 그 프록시가 될 만한 그 테스터들을 찾는 걸 그거 어떻게 그 100명, 1000명을 대표할 사람을 구하지? 이렇게 좀 궁금했거든요.
Right.
근데 그 막 그냥 진짜 생각해 보면 이 게임이 출시됐을 때 그 게임을 사러 올 사람들이 있는 곳에 미리 가서 테스터를 구하는 거네요, 사실상.
Yeah.
오.
Yep. So that's it. And then I think the other thing that we would do, so even though we took people's names and email addresses, we also took other information like what is their age, like how old are they, how often do you play games, like, never, once per week, once per month, once per year, like, and also like what types of games do you like? Do you like puzzle games, RPG, first person shooter,
네.
strategy, like things like that.
그렇죠.
But when we when again, it was my job, when I would contact people to get them to come, I would also try to get a variety of people. So one week we had somebody who's very experienced. They play games every day. They play, Halo and they play StarCraft or whatever.
네.
So very experienced gamer. The next week I would try to get somebody who's not very experienced, who they only play casual games on their phone sometimes. Like, or we would get people who are young. So I'd find somebody who's like under 18, and then I'd find somebody who's older, like maybe even over 50, over 60, like somebody who's actually pretty old.
네.
And try to get a variety. Because again, so we're talking about proxies, right?
네.
If every single tester is a pro Halo player who's 20 years old,
네.
exactly, then they are a proxy for many different players, but they're maybe not a proxy for other types of players. We want to
그렇죠.
get lots of different types of proxies, right?
네, 네.
So we want to get a variety of playtesters. So if you're playtesting, this is the hypothetical, the imaginary Korean learning book.
아, 네.
You want to get some people who are beginners,
네.
but you also want to get people with some experience too, who are like intermediate learners. And you'd want to get somebody who are 재미교포. You'd want to have them test the book because they'll have a different experience too.
네,
right?
네, 맞아요.
And you might want to get somebody who likes only listens to K-pop but doesn't know any Korean otherwise,
네.
or watches dramas. And then you'll want somebody who wants to travel to Korea. That is their goal.
네.
And then you'll want somebody who also younger and older, because younger and older people learn differently, right?
그렇죠.
Yeah. So
네.
yeah.
너무 고통스러운데요, 지금.
Yeah. Okay. So then, I guess, so I'll ask a very open question to you and just see what you have to say to this.
네.
Listening to this process, do you feel like that you have used this process before in some of the stuff that you've done or some of your work? It doesn't have to be exactly, but have you done something similar to this before?
안 써본 것 같아요.
Okay.
네. 그 저는 그냥 저의 소신껏 그냥 제가 괜찮다 생각하는 거 계속 만들기. 좀 피드백을 좀 수용을 잘 안 하고 좀 독단적인
Okay.
그런 길을 걸어왔네요.
Okay. Because I do think that like with half and half with this. So as an example, I'll give you an example. When we wanted to make a logo for half and half,
네.
I was like, I'll try to make a logo. And so I drew a picture. I showed it to you and you said, not like that. And I said, okay, let me try again. So I drew another logo and I showed it to you and you're like, maybe more like this. And I said, okay, let me try again. So I drew another picture. You said, what about like this? So, and then you found somebody else to make a logo, which is great. You said, okay, maybe my other friend can make a logo. And you had them. I don't know if you did one iteration or several iterations, but you tested the logo with them. But also, I remember before we started this podcast, you asked me, what do you think about the name Half and Half? And I was like, it sounds kind of like milk.
맞아요. 예.
And then you had a different suggestion. You said, what about lost in translation? No. Found in translation.
Found in translation도 있었다. 맞아요.
And I said, ooh, it's good, but I don't know if Koreans will understand this name,
그렇죠.
like English people. Yeah. So doing that is a type of playtesting. It's a type of iteration where like you were, trying different things to find what's right. And then after starting the podcast, the first time I recorded, it was recorded like this, right?
네.
And then the next time it was like this.
맞아요.
And then the next time it was like this. And then the next time it was like this.
네.
So you kept giving me feedback. You said, this time move further back or put your camera more over there or more over there. Like
네.
that's all playtesting at iteration. It is. And then, like I said, we started talking a little bit faster in this podcast. And then some people said, oh, can you add subtitles? And we said, oh, okay. So added subtitles.
네.
All those things, all those count as different iteration and feedback.
아, 그런 것도 플레이 테스팅으로 쳐주네요.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, if you wanted to do like very formal playtesting like we do,
네.
you would find somebody say, hey, have you heard of this podcast called Half and Half? And they would say no. Say, okay, I want you to watch this YouTube channel.
네.
watch this video, and I'm going to watch you watch this video.
네.
And when you get confused, just say, I don't understand, or what does that word mean? Or that was too fast, or that was too slow, or can you explain that more? Like just say what you're thinking when you watch Half and Half. I'll take notes. And then based on that, maybe in the next video, we'll say, if I use the word iteration, it's a difficult word, so I need to explain it more. Or like you said, you tried explaining difficult words in English on
네.
Comprehensible Input Korean, and people said, no, don't do that. Explain it in Korean. And you said, okay, well, I'll try to explain in Korean. That's taking feedback and then making a change. Yeah.
간단하게 말하면 그렇네요. 피드백을 받고 네, 그 피드백을 받아들여서 계속 반복해보는 거.
Yeah. Yeah.
근데 그렇게 이 영상을 보세요. 제가 당신이 영상 보고 있는 모습을 제가 뒤에서 보고 있을게요. 이렇게 해가지고 하면은
Yeah.
어떤 사람들은 만약에 막 자기 레벨이 좀 낮아 보이는 게 싫어서 잘 이해가 안 되는데도 막 괜찮네요. 뭐 이렇게 얘기할 수도 있고 좀 그런 좀 가짜 피드백이 생길 수도 있지 않아요?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's okay. So that's 100% right. And here's the thing is when we did playtesting at Valve, we did write down the feedback of the player, like ask them questions and say, oh, what did you think about this? Or what was your favorite enemy? What was your favorite weapon? What was your favorite level? We'd ask them those questions.
네.
But the answers to those questions were not important compared to what we observed. So when we watch and see that they get very frustrated or see that they get confused or see that they're, for example, part of the story might be sad and then they're just laughing like, ha, 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 ha. Like, oh, no. Our goal was you're supposed to cry. Like we didn't meet our goal. So they might say, wow, I love this game. It was so funny. And we'll be like, this game is supposed to be sad. Like that's,
네.
So their feedback is not important compared to the observation. Observation's much, much more important. Because like you said, they might be lying or they might be just saying, oh, it was good. But really they feel, oh, it was no good.
맞아요.
Yeah, they might just be being nice. So you can't exactly trust what people say. You have to trust what you observe first. Yeah. But we would ask questions like to understand. So let's say in Portal, they got confused. After the test, we would say, we noticed that in this puzzle, you were trying to put a portal in this area. Do you remember why you were trying to do that? And they would try to explain, well, the reason I was trying to do that is because I thought that this blah, 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 blah. And then we'd say, oh, okay. They were confused and had this problem because they misunderstood this thing. So if we change this, they'd say, oh, I saw a blinking light over there. So I thought that's where I had to go. And we'd say, okay, let's get rid of the blinking light. We don't want this blinking light. Yeah. So yeah. So that's how we would do stuff like that.
그렇구나. 네.
I was going to say, what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. Yeah, I don't remember. Sorry. I forgot what I was
그래요?
going to say.
그래요? 그러면 여기서 질문 하나.
Yeah, go ahead.
원래 목표가 있다고 했잖아요.
Yeah. Our goal.
근데 플레이 테스트를 막 시켜보면서 목표가 바뀔 수도 있어요?
Yes. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Thank you.
그래요?
Yes, that is it. So what I was going to say is sometimes we would design a puzzle with a goal and a certain solution. We like, oh, this puzzle you solve this way. And we would watch people play it and, they would solve the puzzle. And then we'd have one playtester who solved the puzzle in a different new way that we'd never seen, a completely new way. and we were like, oh, this was better than our idea. This was more fun than our original idea. And so we could say, maybe we should change this puzzle to intentionally be solved the way that they did it, because that was better. So we can change our goal.
그런 경우도 있구나.
Yeah. I'll give you an example from Half-Life. This I didn't work on Half-Life, just to be clear. I didn't work on it.
아니면 2요? 네.
2. Half-Life 2.
2. 네.
Yeah. I didn't work on Half-Life, but I heard this story. So in the game, you have grenades. So you pull the pin, you throw it, right?
네.
There is in the game there is so there's a dumpster. A dumpster is like a very, very big garbage can. 쓰레기통.
네.
So big dumpster. And so you walk into the room and you see the dumpster is kind of like shaking a little bit.
맞아요.
Oh, what's that? And then all of a sudden the lid's open and a zombie jumps out. Yeah. So a zombie jumps out and you go, oh, go. And then you kill the zombie. So they had this area in the game. They play tested, 10, 20, 30 people all played this. But then one tester, they saw the dumpster shaking and they said, ooh, I have an idea. They have a grenade.
네.
They threw the grenade inside the dumpster, right? So they throw the grenade in, expecting, it explodes, right?
네.
But then the grenade comes back out, flies out of the dumpster. And the player's like, oh no. And then they ran and laughed. And they're like, it was a bug in the game. The grenade wasn't supposed to fly out. But when they play tested and saw that, they're like, oh my God, that's so funny. We should we should do that on purpose. Like that should happen to every player. If they throw a grenade in, it should come back out because that's just funny.
네.
So they made an intentional change in the game where that was a bug, but they made it so that it always happens that way every time.
아, 그렇구나.
Yeah. So they changed the goal. Originally, that was supposed to be a scary part, but then they said, "Oh, let's make this a funny part because it's more fun when it's funny." Yeah. And so also to change that, what they did is they said, "Okay, right before you go to the dumpster, just before that, there's a door, and just before the door, there's grenades on the ground.
아,
So you pick up the grenades, you open the door, you see the dumpster, and you're like, okay, I'll throw a grenade in,
바로 쓰라고.
and then it comes out. So now instead of like 1 in 100 players sees this, now 1 in 10 or maybe 1 in 5 players more commonly sees this, and so it was a really funny part in the game. So
그렇구나. 저는 그런 부분이 있었는지 기억이 안 나는데. 레이븐홈.
yeah, Ravenholm, probably Ravenholm, yeah,
아,
because there's so many zombies there.
거기 너무 무서웠어요, 저.
Yeah, it's a scary area.
예.
Yeah. So anyway, so yeah, the goal can change. Absolutely. Sometimes we'll have one goal, but then change the goal.
제가 그 질문할 때 들었던 생각은 뭐냐면요.
Oh yeah.
가끔 저도 나름 그 유튜브 때문에 다양한 게임을 해보는 편인데 주로 퍼즐 게임을 많이 해서 근데 하다 보면 가끔 진짜 막 작정하고 만든 사람들이 막 작정하고 도저히 너무 어려워서 막 스트레스 받고 막 힘들게 만들고 싶어서 만든 것 같은 게임들이 있더라고요.
Yeah, right. There are games where the goal of the game is to make you feel stressed or make you feel scared or angry or any of those things. Yeah.
근데 만약에 뭐 플레이 테스트 해봤는데 진짜 딱 그렇게 스트레스 받게 잘 만들어서 막 사람들이 막 너무 짜증나요. 막 그러면 이거 너무한가? 이렇게 해서 좀 바꿀 수도 있을까 모르겠네요.
Right. Yeah, it's possible. Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, just as an example, like if when we were making Portal, our goal was make people feel smart. But if we, at some point, if we realize that's too hard, it's easier to make the game frustrating or it's easier to make the game difficult. Like if we realized that was easier, maybe we would have changed our goal and said, oh, you know what, let's just make this game really frustrating. Like that's our goal. So it depends on what you want to do with it.
그렇죠.
Yeah, or make it relaxing. Some people make very relaxing puzzle games, like Sudoku. Is Sudoku called that in Korea, or is it called something different?
수도쿠라고 불러요.
Yeah, so Sudoku is like maybe a relaxing puzzle game. So like people can make relaxing puzzle games, or
네.
any kind. There's anything like that. Okay. Oh, so a stressful puzzle game, as an example, would be Sudoku, but there's a timer. You have to complete it in 1 minute. Now you have a very stressful puzzle game.
네, 그리고 한국 게임도 하나 있습니다.
Right.
네, 그 수도쿠에서 마왕을 무찌르고
Right.
공주를 구하는 게임이 있어요.
Oh, really?
네, 수도쿠에서.
That's funny.
네. 아무튼.
Okay, so I want to change topics to one other thing. Because, like you said, the reason we're doing this is that 2 people asked questions in the Portal Q&A. One of the questions was about the companion cube.
동인 큐브.
Yeah. Where did the companion cube come from? And basically, I was like, I'll answer this later because the answer is playtesting. So I want to describe the playtesting process that created the companion cube.
네.
So we had a goal for the level. Our level, the name that we called the level was Box Marathon. Box
네.
Marathon. So box is 상자, right?
네.
Or box.
그리고 마라톤.
Marathon is marathon. Yeah. So
그 엄청 긴 맵 아니에요?
Yeah. So a long level where you use the box many times during the level. That was our goal. So we said, okay, let's make a level where you have to use the box different ways many times. So first you use the box, you put it on the ground, you stand on the box, you go up to a higher area. That's puzzle number 1. So just stand on the box. Number 2, there's a hallway, a very skinny hallway,
네.
and there's an energy ball. It's dangerous. It comes at you like this.
맞아요.
So you have to hold the box and use it as a shield. So you bounce like this, you block it, and you go through the hall.
네.
Number 3, there's a ball bouncing this way, and there's a catcher over here. So you have to use the cube to bounce the ball into the catcher. So like reflection, like bounce,
네.
right? And then the last one, there's like a button and a door, and you put the cube on the button, and then the door opens, and then you let the ball go through. You pick up the cube. Sorry, I'm describing the puzzle, but you use the cube to open the door, basically.
그렇죠. 네.
That's the other puzzle. There might have been one more, but that's most of the puzzles. Okay, so that was our idea. We make the level. So we observe. So we watch somebody play. So the person plays the level. He picks up the box. He stands on the box. He goes, and then he goes to the hallway, and then he sees the energy ball bouncing,
네.
and he tries to run really fast and avoid it. Or he tries to duck under it, and then he dies. He tries to jump over it, and then he dies.
네.
And he dies maybe 10, 20 times and says, oh yeah, what about the box? So he goes back, he gets the box. He goes through the hall.
네.
And he goes to the hall, he puts down the box, and then he continues. And he gets to the next puzzles. He's confused. Oh, how do I do this? What do I do? Oh, I don't understand. He doesn't have the box. I don't know how to do this. How do I hold down the button? 20 minutes later. Oh yeah, the box. He goes back and gets the box.
네, 네.
Okay, he solves the button puzzle. He solves it. And then he leaves the box and then he goes to the next puzzle. What do I do? He's stuck. He's confused. So we say, okay, every time they solve a puzzle with the box, they say, okay, I used the box. I'm done. I don't need the box. Now I leave, right?
그렇게 생각하기 쉬워요.
Yeah. So
네.
you've used it, you're done. You don't need that box. That's what they think. But then they realize, oh, I still need the box. Keep taking it with you. So we say, okay, how do we get people to take the box with them? And we say okay, so I forgot to tell you this. When we see a problem in the playtest, we try to think, how do we solve this problem?
네.
On our team, we have programmers, we have artists, we have writers, we have designers, and maybe a few other things. All different types of developers.
네.
Each developer has a different idea. So as a programmer, for example, I can say that, oh, I have an idea. My idea is that we need to, well, okay, I don't have an idea as a programmer. Like, it might be some complicated solution for like making the box. We could change the game so that on the HUD, so in the game, visually, you can see which elements you need next. You need a box again, you need a box again, or something like that.
네, 네.
But my idea is very complicated. It's very difficult to do.
네, 네.
And then a writer would say, all we need is GLaDOS, the voice in the level.
그 쓰라고.
Yeah.
그 상자를 쓰라고 얘기하게 할 수도 있고요.
Exactly. He can just write some audio that says, this is your companion cube. Make sure you always have it with you. Don't forget your companion cube. You will need it. So you just write some voice, right?
네.
So now the player plays the game, they hear that voice, and they say, oh, I need to take this box with me. So they stack, they jump, they take the box, they block the ball, they go to the next puzzle.
Wow.
They always have their box. And so we say, okay, yay, we did it. They take their box everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But when the writer wrote that dialogue, they wrote companion cube. They called it, always take your companion cube, or this is your companion cube, or something like that. It was really funny. And we're like, oh, that's companion cube. That's really funny. So one of the artists drew a picture of a heart. Right? Drew like this maybe? Or maybe
맞아요,
like this.
맞아요.
They drew a heart on the box. And then after we did that, we drew the picture of the heart. Players always took their cube with them. Nobody ever forgot it, so that worked. But when they got to the end of the level, they would say, "Oh, I have my companion cube, but I have to go to the elevator and I want to take it with me, right?" And so one of the players they walked forward, and then it hits the field. There's this energy field, and the box fizzles and disappears. Yeah. And so like, "Oh no, my companion cube!" They were like it was like a little bit emotional. They're like, "Oh, my companion cube's gone. Oh, that's so sad."
네.
And so we said, "Oh, like, what if you had to destroy the companion cube?"
그 구멍에 떨어뜨리라고.
Yeah. So we said, okay, exactly, throw it in the hole. So we have we had a hole with fire coming out. Like there's fire in the hole. It's you need to put your companion cube in the fire pit. After you do, then we'll open the exit. You can leave. And so here, okay, put their thing in the fire pit, and then they leave. And then later, we were playtesting the boss battle for the game. So at the end of the game, you fight against GLaDOS. And we said, oh, we should use that fire pit.
Oh.
Right? So we use the fire pit, and we have, you press the button, then go to the fire pit and put it in, right? And so we said, okay, to teach players for the boss battle how to use that fire pit, we'll add a button to the fire pit in the companion cube level so that it's the same, so that they'll remember that. And later when they get to the boss battle, they have that same, they know how to use this button.
Yeah.
So that's all just iteration. And I'm describing it in like, 1 test, 2 tests, 3 tests, 4 tests. But really that was like 50 tests to learn all of this information, to iterate.
어떻게 개발을 되게 현란하게 한다는 느낌이 드네요.
Yeah.
현란한 발놀림 이런 거 알아요?
Can you explain it more?
현란하다.
현란. Okay.
네, 현란하다. 막 축구 같은 거 할 때 메시, 호날두 이런 선수들이요.
Okay.
막 공을 막 발로 막 어떻게 막 휘휘휘휘 하면서 막
Okay.
막 휘젓고 다니는 거예요.
I see.
막 현란한 드리블.
I think in English, okay, could you also use this phrase in boxing? If you're boxing, can you like dodge like this? Is that the same phrase or a different phrase?
보통 축구랑
Okay.
농구에서 많이 쓰는 거 같아요.
In basketball also. Okay.
네, 그걸 잘 다루는 거예요.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and sometimes we call this juking. You'd say you juke left, juke right. There might be another word that I'm not thinking of, but yeah.
아니 근데 그렇게 플레이 테스트에서 상자 큐브를 계속 가지고 다니게 하기 위해서 동행 큐브를 만들었고,
Yeah.
그러다 보니까 그 불구덩이를 만들었는데,
Right.
그렇게 만든 불구덩이로 보스전에 쓸 수 있게 적용하고.
Right.
이야, 현란한 드리블이다.
Yeah, and then like one other part of it would be later in the game. GLaDOS mentions the companion cube. She's like, "Oh, it's only you alone here. You killed your one companion, the companion cube, or something like that." So we added more dialogue to talk about this later.
네.
Yeah, and then also,
네.
spoilers.
네.
At the very end of the game, you do see the companion cube one more time at the very, very end of the game. Yeah.
그랬어요?
Am I making that up? I think when you see the cake at the end of the game, the companion cube is there too. I think.
아 진짜요?
Am I right or am I wrong? I don't remember.
저는 케이크밖에 기억이 안 나요.
Oh no, I'm not sure. I'm going to search. Let me make sure I'm not lying here. 1 second.
케이크는 확실히 기억이 나는데 그 어두운 곳에
Let me check.
빛나는
Oh, it's there. Yeah, it's there.
있어요.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you do see it one more time at the very end of the game. So yeah, so that's how the companion cube got made. We didn't. So at the beginning, we didn't say we want to make the companion cube with a heart. this is our goal. It was by testing that we iterated and slowly changed what it was, and eventually it became the Command Cube. Our goal at the start was Box Marathon. So it was similar, but it changed.
와, 플레이 테스트를 제대로 하면서 되게 처음에 기획하지 않았던 중요한 요소들이 생기기도 하네요.
Absolutely. Yeah.
와.
Yeah, so I don't know. I try to think about, I guess, so how much of Portal, like Portal 1, how much of Portal is only exists because of playtesting? I'm trying to think about that right now. I would say maybe 10% of the game was what we had planned exactly. And 90% of the game is playtesting. like ideas that we only got from playtesting. Something like that.
와.
Yeah.
야, 오,
Yeah.
파도 타듯이 개발을 했네요.
Yeah.
서핑 하듯이.
Yeah. It's surfing from wave to wave. Yeah.
그렇네.
Yeah, because from the start of the game, here was our goal from the start of Portal. Number 1, make the player feel smart.
네.
You have a portal gun. Did we have portal gun? Yeah,
네,
you have a
맞아요.
portal gun. That was from the start. You are in an abandoned research facility. We had that from the start. You escape. At some point, you escape. And was there anything else that's the same? There's cubes and buttons.
네.
That's almost all. That's almost all that we started with when we made Portal. And all of those things, existed when we completed the game. But yeah, 90% I would say was just through iteration, coming up with ideas, changing things, trying new things.
아, 그러면 막 거대 AI 로봇이 나를 죽이려고 한다는 그런 거는.
No, we didn't start with that. At the start, there was no AI, there was no robot, there was no voice, nothing like that.
오, 진짜요?
Yeah. Actually, I take that back. We did have a voice at the start originally,
네.
but the voice originally was a recording, not an AI, was our plan. We were going to have a voice recording that you would hear. But when we did, this is another playtesting thing. When we did the recording, we didn't have a voice actor. We didn't have one. So we used a computer voice generator to make the recorded voice. So it sounded like a robot, like, welcome to the Aperture and Science Enrichment Center, something like that. When playtesters heard the voice, they would say, oh, there's some kind of AI talking to me. And we're like, oh, that's a good idea. Maybe we should use an AI. And so then we added an AI character. And then people liked the AI voice. So we said, oh, maybe that AI character, you'll talk to every level, not just sometimes, but every level.
네.
And then later we said, oh, there should be a boss battle. So we added that too. All those things came later. Yeah.
와, 근데 그게 되게 결과물을 보면 진짜 뭐라 해야 되지? 딱 그 완결성이 있어요.
Yeah.
딱 완벽하게 다 들어맞는 것 같아요. 와.
So anyway, I think that's most of what I had to say about playtesting. So, yeah, I don't know. Do you have any other questions about it, or any other thoughts about it, or ideas for how you could use it?
아니 저는 방금 부분에서 그냥 뭔가를 만든다는 것 자체에 대한 생각이 되게 많이 바뀌었어요, 지금.
Oh, good. I mean, I think that's good because, how do I say this? It means you learned something.
그렇죠.
Yeah. If it was exactly like you thought, you wouldn't have learned anything.
아, 그렇죠. 예전에도 비슷한 얘기를 친한 또 다른 한국인 프로그래머 형한테서 들은 적이 있는데.
Oh, really?
아니 게임 얘기는 아니었는데
Uh,
막 처음부터 뭐 앱이나 뭐 사이트나 뭐 이런 비즈니스든 프로그램이든 처음부터 그 1부터 100까지를 다 계획하고 디자인해서 만드는 게 아니라
Yeah.
그냥 1, 2, 3까지 만들고
Yeah.
사람들 어떻게 생각하는지 보고 좀 괜찮다 싶으면 좀 이 방향으로 4, 5, 6 만들고
Yeah.
이게 아니다 싶으면 또 다른 방향으로 7, 8, 9 만들고 이렇게 하는 게 좋다는 얘기를 들었거든요.
Yeah, that's true. In software design and user experience design, not games, it's definitely a very, very popular method for development. I think there's a few different words for it. Like some people call it Scrum, I think. It's
네.
commonly used, Scrum. But there's other variations of Scrum. It's called like
에자일?
Agile. Yes, correct.
맞아요.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Agile and Scrum are very popular. I think it's a similar style. It's not exactly the same, but it's similar. Yeah, I think it's a good way to do things. I use it for a lot of other things too, like not just game development, but for example, when I'm working on a presentation, like I've done quite a few presentations, I'll do a similar thing where I'll have an idea for what I want the presentation to be. I'll write parts of it, make some slides, and then I'll say, hey, watch my presentation, and then make sure they understand what I wanted or learned what I wanted. And then I'll make changes and then keep repeating that process to improve my presentations.
네.
So you can use it for that. You can use it for lots of things. I mean, I forgot to say one thing, I guess, about playtesting. So you were joking about this earlier, but you said like, if somebody is watching a half and half video and you're sitting behind them watching them,
네.
that's literally what we do. But there's one important thing, very, very important thing.
네.
When we're watching, we don't give them advice or feedback or explanation or whatever. So we like, for example, if somebody's playing the game and they're confused and you say, oh, just go left. It's over there. Just go right. It's over there. Pick up the box. Don't leave the box. Pick it up. Take it with you.
훈수.
The playtest it will go very smooth, but we don't learn anything from that process. So we have to be completely silent and not tell them anything. And usually before we start a playtest, so we bring in somebody to playtest, we say, hey, we're going to have you play the game. We're going to watch. We're not going to say anything. We will not say anything. If you have questions, ask us your questions, but we're not going to answer your questions.
아, 그래요?
So we make sure that they know that we're not going to say anything. Yeah. So that's a very important point.
근데 그래도 진짜 그 플레이어 테스터가
Yeah.
뒤를 돌아보면은 그 지프랑 다른 사람들을 볼 수는 있어요?
Yes. So sometimes what we would do instead, because sometimes it was a little bit distracting knowing that there's 10 people over there just watching me. So what we did sometimes is instead we would use screen video recording, record their screen, and we'd have a camera on the computer so we could see their face. And we'd told them, hey, we're going to be watching you play. We'll be in a different room. We're not in the same room. We'll be in a different room. We are watching. We are listening. So if you have questions, ask them. But we're not gonna say anything. And I think that when we changed to doing that style, it was a little bit better actually.
역시.
Yeah. Because sometimes they would play and they would see something funny and they would turn and say, and we'd be like, play the game. Don't look at us. Don't look at us.
아, 그쵸. 아, 그럴 것 같더라고요.
Yeah. So it's important.
아, 그리고 누가 뒤에서 보고 있으면은 좀 퍼즐이 잘 안 풀릴 것 같아요.
Yeah. It's like it's more stressful when other people are watching, and
네.
it can feel embarrassing. Or
네.
yeah. It adds an extra level to it. Yeah. So yeah.
저는 막 취조실 같이.
Oh.
취조실처럼 막 그 하고 있으면 뒤에 막 거울 같은 벽이 있어서 뭐 사람들이 막 이러고 막 보고 있나 막 생각했는데 그 정도는
Right,
아니네요.
Right. One direction glass. What do we call that? one way mirror, two-way mirror? Two-way mirror, I think is what we call it. Two-way mirror.
네, 그 정도는 아니고. 그 정도는
No. You be in a
네.
different room usually. Yeah.
그러면은 밸브 그러니까 모든 게임 회사가 밸브처럼 테스팅을 할 수 있는 건 아니잖아요.
You mean other game companies?
네, 좀 작은 게임 회사들이 있고 막 독립 그 인디 개발자들도 많잖아요.
Yeah, lots.
좀 그런 사람들을 위한 좀 팁 같은 게 있을까요?
I mean, this whole thing is do playtesting. It's useful. I think for indie devs, this is actually very useful as well, because you can focus on, how do I say this? So as an indie dev, you don't have much time or much money. So you can focus on just fixing the biggest problems. So when somebody playtests, you can see what is the biggest problem and fix that. And then you playtest again, and now what's the biggest problem and fix that. And you try again, what's the biggest problem now? And like I said before, with every problem, you can try to say what is the cheapest solution. If programming is too hard, maybe writing is easier. Or maybe just, like I said with the gun, making the gun louder, just change the sound effect. If that simple solution fixes the problem, then you don't need a complicated solution. So it can be much cheaper to find the easiest solution. So yeah, I mean, I would recommend that. What else could I recommend? Yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess another way to say this. So I have a friend who he's a game developer, but he's mostly just a programmer. He's never really done game design. And he's like, oh, I want to make a game, but I don't. He's like, he feels like he's not smart enough to design a game. This is what he says. He's like, I don't know how to design a game well. And my advice to him, I tell him all the time, is first design something bad.
네.
Design something bad first. And then look at it and say, what are the problems? And then fix those problems. And then repeat, iterate, fix those problems. And eventually the game will be good. You don't, not only do you not have to, but I think it's impossible to make a game that's designed perfectly the first time. Like you might have a very good idea, but when you get somebody to play your game, it's not as good as you thought it was. That's almost always true. Like it'll just, people interact with it differently than you expect. And so I guess trying to believe that you need to have a good design first, I think is not really true. I think you just need a good idea that might not be a good design and then change it until it is a good design. So yeah, that's my feeling. That's my advice.
근데 그렇게 생각해보면
Yeah.
만약에 뭐 A 팀이 있고 B 팀이 있는데 뭐 A 팀이 B 팀보다 좀 더 뭐 좀 특별할 게 없는 그냥 평범한 아이디어를 가지고 게임을 만들기 시작해도 플레이 테스트를 하는 방향에 따라 더 재밌는 게임을 만들 수도 있겠네요.
Right. Yes.
아,
Definitely. I think so.
와, 생각보다 진짜 중요한 부분이네요. 게임이나 뭘 만드는 데 있어서.
Yeah, it's very important.
와.
And so yeah, I think and I will say this is that different different games might need different styles of playtesting. So as an example, Counter-Strike is maybe one example that people will know.
네.
When we make changes to Counter-Strike, add new game modes or add new weapons, things like that. I said that you want to get people who've never played the game when we played Portal. That's not really true for Counter-Strike. you want to have people test the game who are familiar with Counter-Strike or who play it a lot, play it every day, because those people are a proxy for the people who play Counter-Strike. And so with multiplayer games, having people who are very familiar with it, it's okay to test with them. But something like Portal, where you play it once or play it twice, you want to get somebody who's never played before every time. So it does depend on the game. If another maybe example is like if you're doing like a flight simulator game,
네.
you want to get people probably who are experienced with flight simulator games because that's the type of game that they like. And
그쵸.
people who don't really play flight simulators aren't usually interested in them. So you always want to try to find the playtesters who are a good match for the people who will actually buy your game. You want to find the proxy for your customer.
전 그게 시작과 끝이라고 할 수도 있을 것 같아요. 진짜 제일 중요한 부분인 것 같아요.
Yeah.
그 적합한 테스터를 찾는 거.
Yep.
그거는 어떻게 찾을까요?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. But for the imaginary Korean book that you're writing,
네.
the Korean book, you don't want to get somebody to test your book who is not interested in learning Korean, who does not want to learn Korean.
그럼요.
Having them test the book is not going to be useful information for you
그렇죠.
because they're not planning to buy the book.
네.
So, yeah. Or the other example would be like not a professor, but a normal everyday person who was born in Korea and lives in Korea. Like
그렇죠.
having them read it is not useful for you either.
전혀 쓸모가 없죠.
Right. So anyway, yeah. Or I don't know. Maybe another example would be, it was a bad example, but somebody who doesn't know how to read, like literally does not know how to read. You don't want them testing your book either. That's not useful for you. So, yeah. Like doesn't know English, doesn't know Korean. So, anyway.
근데 뭐 흥미로운 지점이에요.
Yeah. Or if you're writing the book in English, you don't need somebody who is French and learning Korean.
그렇죠.
Maybe that's not useful for you either. So you can look at examples like that.
그렇죠.
Yeah.
어쨌든 그렇게 딱 제외할 사람들을 딱 깔끔하게 제외하고,
Yeah.
그리고 남은 사람들 그 옵션에서 최대한 또 그 제일 알맞은 테스터를 찾아야 되네요.
Yep.
그거는 그리고 게임마다 다르다.
Yep. Different per game. Yeah, you might need different things. So, yeah, I think that's all that I have to say. Anything else?
혹시 그 자기가 만드는 그 게임에 그 되게 고집이 있을 수도 있잖아요.
Yes.
근데 진짜 꼭 보여주고 싶은 부분이 있을 수 있고.
Right.
네, 막 이것만큼은 내가 너무 딱 플레이어들한테 느끼게 하고 싶다, 막 경험했으면 좋겠다 싶은 것들이 만약에 플레이 테스트에서 좀 반응이 안 좋고 외면받으면 그러면 어떻게 해야 될까요?
Yeah, great question. So you're basically saying if somebody has like a very stubborn, like specific thing about the game that they don't want to change, that's very important to them, they must keep exactly that way, then what do you do? I think that's actually fine, and I think that's important sometimes. But it does mean there's one part of the game that you're going to keep one way and not change. If when you play test it, it's not working, like people don't experience it in the way that you want, or don't understand it, or don't like it, then you don't have to change that thing, but you might change other things related to it. So as an example, sometimes just marketing can be a way to solve this. So you can say the player, when they play the game, they have in their mind, they have some expectation about what is this game.
네.
And when they get to that one part that you won't change, they're like, oh, I don't like this. That's not my style, or that's not what I expect. So before they play the game, you tell them, in this game, you will experience this very specific thing. This is what you will experience. Have this expectation that you know that this will happen. If you don't like that, don't play this game. If you do like that or you are interested in that, then this is the game for you. So you can just set the expectation so that the people who do or who are interested in that type of thing or who want to play that type of thing will be your customer, and you can try to make sure you target it directly to those customers. So that could be one way. Another thing, like I said, you don't change that one thing, but changing things around it so that maybe as they play the game, they are more likely to expect or understand what that thing is, or after that thing happens, then things after that, maybe they don't like it the moment that they saw it, but maybe within the game you can explain, what the reason for that thing is, or you can, add other things. I don't know. I'm trying to think of how to explain this, but basically you can change other things other than that to sometimes support that one thing. I think it's possible. Yeah.
이해된 것 같아요.
Yeah. Okay.
딱 이거 하나만큼은 절대 내가 바꾸고 싶지 않다면,
Yeah.
그러면은 그 플레이어들이 이게 이해되게끔 주위의 것들을 잘 만들어줘야 된다는 말이네요.
Yeah, exactly. I think so. Yep. So yeah.
네, 좋습니다. 진짜 이거 이렇게 에피소드 하나로 따로 빼서 이야기할 만했네요.
Yeah, exactly.
네, 진짜 중요한 부분이구나.
Yeah. This is why, I didn't want to do this as part of the Q&A because there was just so much that I wanted to say, and I couldn't do it in 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So, yeah.
그러면 찌프가 지금 일하고 있는 회사도 게임 만드는 회사잖아요.
Yeah.
그러면 요즘도 가끔 찌프가 그런 테스팅에 좀 참여를 해요?
Definitely. So I've been in maybe 4 or 5 different teams at the new company that I work at. It's called Snowed In Studios, and we make games there too. And like, I'm trying to think how to say this. The things that I told you today,
네.
I have to tell my coworkers about too. Like, some of them are familiar with playtesting and use it some or whatever. I think it's maybe more important than other people know about or, believe at first. And so usually when I join a team, I say, okay, how are we playtesting? What is our process? How often do we playtest? Or like, where are we finding playtesters? And like sometimes those teams are already doing some playtesting, but if they're not, then I get involved and try to say, okay, I'm going to start scheduling playtests. We're going to be doing this once a week. We'll watch people play, or once every 2 weeks. It depends on the game. And I make an effort to bring playtesting into the process that we develop our games there. And for the games that we've made, like I think that it has shown good results, that the games get better and better very fast when we start doing playtesting. So yeah, we do it at Snowed In also in the teams that I work on, and I try to make it an important thing.
Wow.
But I will say this. So Snowed In, the games that we develop, we do it, we call it co-development. We work with other development studios. And so those development studios sometimes have their own process for development or have their own way of developing games.
네.
And so basically, I have to work using their style, like whatever their style is, I have to work with that style. But I try to recommend to them, like, here's how we can use playtesting. Either I can do an example and show them, and then they'll see if it's useful or not, and start adding it to their process, or I can help them improve their process. But, when I get hired to work on a game,
네.
part of it is because I'm a programmer, and I program, I solve bugs, I fix things, I write features, I do code. Part of it is because I do some design a little bit. And then part of it is because of things like this, where I can help them improve their process of developing the game, make the game better, and find new ways to help them. So
네.
explaining this process is one of the ways that I help people.
야, 든든하네요.
I guess so. I don't know. I've been doing this for a long time. So
와. 우리도 하나 같이 만들기로 했죠.
yeah, we could do it. Sure. I mean, I think it would work for anybody. So yeah.
네. 우리도 네, 만들기로 했습니다. 게임 하나. 이거 네.
I forgot to say this, but Sungun.
네네.
Before I released Sungun, I worked on it for maybe 5 or 6 months. And during those 6 months, I was playtesting it. I would get my friends to play, be like, here's apples, bananas, and carrots. Do you understand? And they'd be like, how does the garlic work? I don't understand the garlic. And I'd be like, okay, I need to explain this rule a little bit better. And then,
네,
change
네.
things. So yeah, I did playtesting on Sungun also. So. Oh, you know what? So in Sungun, there's the hint button. You can press a button to... Yeah, it's a hobak right now.
네네.
Yeah.
힌트 버튼 있죠.
Yeah. Originally, there was no hint button. And you had not 7, but 10 guesses to get the answer. I had a friend who would playtest the game a few times. And she said she couldn't solve the puzzles with 10 guesses. She could never solve the puzzles.
그럴
And
수도
she's-
있어요. 네.
Yeah. And so she said, I really wish there was a hint button. And, you were talking about that stubborn feeling where you don't want to change something. I felt really stubborn. I was like, you don't need a hint button. That's stupid. Like, I don't think so. Like, nobody wants a hint button.
Oh.
So that's how I felt. And then the next day I thought about it. I was like, okay, I'll add a hint button and I'll see if it's good or bad. So I added a hint button. And I was like, oh, actually, this is really fun. I like this. So I was just wrong. So I added the hint button, and then she was able to solve the puzzles in 5 or 6 or 7 guesses. Then I reduced it from 10 to 7. So that was one example where playtesting, I changed the game. So anyway.
전 최대한 안 쓰려고 해요.
Yeah.
네, 저는 최대한 호박 안 누르고.
Yes, and that's the other thing.
네.
So with the hint button, it's optional. You can choose to use it or not
네.
use it. Some players want to never use the hint button, and that's fine. And some people use it every time, and that's fine. Like they can choose to use it or not use it.
그렇죠.
Yeah. And I guess one other thing, this is my stubbornness again, being stubborn. Sometimes people say if you complete the puzzle without a hint, your score should be better. You should get a better score to show that you didn't use a hint. And for me, I'm like, I don't want to give people a better score for not using a hint, because then I'm telling players, don't use the hint. Don't ever use it. And so I say, I'm not going to do that. It's going to be the same score. It doesn't matter if you use the hint or not.
맞네.
Because if people want to use it, they can use it. And that's their choice. So
맞네. 생각해보니까.
that's the thing that I'm stubborn about. So
그러게요. 페널티가 없네요. 호박을
yeah,
써도.
no penalty. Yeah.
오, 그렇네. 생각해보니까.
Yeah.
아.
So anyway, there you go.
네네.
One more bonus story.
아니 이렇게 그 게임 포탈 이런 거 에피소드 얘기할 때 그 게임 개발하시는 분들이 좀 종종 챙겨 보시는 것 같더라고요. 근데 진짜 물론 이미 알고 계신 분들도 많을 텐데 그 진짜 플레이 테스트가 이렇게나 중요하다는 걸 네, 또 더 자세히 알아가실 것 같네요.
Yeah, definitely.
와. 저도 좀 해봐야 되겠습니다.
Cool. Yeah, give it a shot.
좋네요. 그러면은 이번 시간은 여기까지 할까요?
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
네, 확실히 게임 얘기가 재밌긴 재밌네요.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we both like games, so it's fun talking
네,
about it.
확실히 찌프가 전문가라.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, like I said, so I'm an expert. But I still always feel like I have more to learn. Like there's always, whether it's playing games or developing games, there's always stuff that I don't know that I learn as I do it. So yeah, it's fun.
좋습니다. 좋습니다.
Cool.
네, 그러면 이번 시간 포탈 그 Q&A에서 생겼던 플레이 테스트에 관한 이야기를 해봤고요. 저희는 다음 주에 또 유익하고 흥미로운 내용으로 돌아오겠습니다. 그럼 지금까지 저는 반반 팟캐스트 하프앤하프의 정태웅이었습니다. 감사합니다.
And I'm Jeep. Thanks for listening to Half and Half, and we'll see you next time. Talk to you later. Bye.